As you heard us talk with Brett Okamoto, top of the show, one of the biggest stories of last week came through, first reported, by the way, right here on ESPN. Still sounds weird saying that, by the way, but in a good weird. You like the good kind of way? Anyway, Lyoto Machida is now a member of Bellator. Signed his contract, signed, sealed, and delivered. He is now a member of Bellator MMA. The man who was once the light heavyweight champion of the UFC, man who had been in the UFC for 13 years. Last fight was against Vitor Belfort. Now a member of Bellator. He has not talked to anyone since signing that contract. That changes right now. He is kind enough to be joining us on the phone. Lyoto, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Lyoto, thank you so much for the time. It's an honor to have you here on my first show, and with such big news to discuss. First off, congratulations on signing your contract with Bellator.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity to talk over here.
Okay, so this is huge, and there's a lot to digest here. Lyoto, let's start at the beginning. You never told the world, you never told anyone publicly that the Vitor Belfort fight was your last fight, that you were at the end of your contract. Why did you not share? In the past, the last couple of years, people have been saying, "Oh, one more fight." You kept this very quiet. Why is that?
Because I'm a guy first of all, and I don't to publicize everything. To say everything about my career. So it's kind of strategy too to be quiet and know what's going on, what's going to happen. So I was just quiet and waiting for the UFC.
That night when you left the cage after knocking out Vitor, did you think that was going to be your last time in the UFC?
No, I didn't think at all. I thought that I could be back up there, and I was thinking that I could renew my contract, but it didn't happen. To be honest, they let my contract run out, and that's it.
Were you disappointed that they let your contract run out?
So I was bummed out at the end, but at the end of the day, so I went to Bellator, and because I could do that, I went to Bellator, and Bellator just made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. But everything was okay because UFC, he did match everything, But I was giving my word to Scott Coker and Mike Hogan, so I'm a man of my words. So when UFC did match everything, I couldn't come back again.
Oh, so they did actually match the offer that you got from Bellator?
Yes, they did the match, but when Scott Coker asked me how much I would like to receive per fight, and he said, Lyoto, if I give that to you, you jump on board, so you can just come to Bellator. I said, yes, I can go. He said, so deal done.
Wow.
Okay. So when I come back with UFC and tell everything that happened, so UFC match everything, but I gave my word to Scott Coker, to Bellator, and it's one of my principles, so I cannot my word. So if I say something, I have just to do what I said.
How difficult was the decision, Lyoto, to actually say goodbye to the UFC and hello to Bellator, if you will, to actually do that when it came down to it? How difficult was that for you?
So it was very difficult because, I like so much UFC too. I have a lot of friends over there. And I get along with Dana White and with a lot of guys from De Lorenzo Pechita in the past. So it's very, very, very hard to me, but I'm a professional fighter, and I have to decide pay and better for my team and everybody. So I put everything on the table and said no. So I gotta looking for something different. I gotta looking for some different offers. Then I decide to go to Bellator and hear something good. And they gave me something good. So when I came back to the UFC, so I couldn't refuse the offer from from Bellator. Even though UFC match everything, but it was very hard. It breaks my heart because I like a lot UFC. I have a lot of friends over there too. But I believe that now it's time to go, man. Time to move on everything, and it's my new house. I'm very happy. So I'm very happy with all the crew from Bellator, Mike Hogan, Scott Cooker. So my brother already fought in Bellator, so I know a lot of guys from Bellator as well. And I know Bellator has a lot of good people as well.
Lyoto, before the Vitor fight, did they approach you about, okay, here we have one fight left on the deal, let's try to sign something so that you don't go into free agency? Were there any talks before that fight at 224?
No. We didn't have any talk about any conversation. They just offered me Vitor Belfort, and I thought that it was a good fight to me. So I just got the fight, and we didn't discuss anything about the contract and stuff like that. Just about the fight, and that's it.
Did that disappoint you? Did you want a contract before your last fight, or did you want to play it out?
So I heard from some people in UFC that because UFC changed a little bit, right? UFC became more corporate, so they changed a little bit. So I heard from some fighters from UFC that they ran out the contracts, and after that they can renew everything, renegotiate and everything. So I was think that it's a normal process in UFC right now, because back in the days, before our last fight, usually they come up to us and try to negotiate again and renew our contract. But sometimes things can change, and I was believing that everything was different in UFC right now. So I didn't realize it was something bad to me. To be honest, I never had nothing bad to say about UFC, but good things. Mm-hmm. Good things.
Once you had that fight against Vitor and once you became a free agent, did you talk to any other promotions, or was it just Bellator?
Just Bellator. I went straight to Bellator because my brother already fought in Bellator. So I was talking to Mike Hogan sometimes, so Scott Cooker. So we get along each other. Then I decided to go straight to Bellator and give this opportunity to Bellator as well, right?
Mm-hmm. You like those guys. You had a relationship with them.
Oh, for sure. Actually, everybody is a good people, man. Even in UFC and Bellator as well. I like everyone. You know myself. I'm a very easygoing fighter, easygoing person. So I can get along with everyone. I don't trash talk. I talk just good things. If I have something good to say, I say. If I have bad things, I prefer don't say anything. I just say good things about people.
It's like my mother once told me, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
She's right. She's right.
And Lyoto, you didn't want to talk to other promotions, like just see what's out there. Maybe there's an amazing offer in Japan or one in Asia or Brazil. You didn't want to talk to anyone else.
No, I didn't talk to anyone else. I just went straight to Bellator and they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. So I was very happy. And in the other hand, so I'm very grateful. I'm very, very grateful to have this offer, and very grateful about the UFC as well, because 11 years in UFC, so I have a very good moments over there. And, at the end of the day, you just can say thank you for everything, because UFC gave me a lot of opportunities to fight and give me a lot of things. So everything that I did in my career, I had to I had to say that UFC helped me a lot.
I know not that long ago you had your issue with USADA that you felt very strongly about. Did that play a factor in your decision at all? The fact that Bellator isn't with USADA?
No, not at all. Because I think USADA have done a good job in UFC. Of course, I already said that I don't agree with certain terms that USADA using. Like, for example, they take so long to judge someone. I don't agree with that. But I like the USADA UFC. I like the doping control. I think it's important for the sport. So what happened to me is already past, and I try to forget everything all the time. Just thinking my next step. I think life is like that. You have to think your next step all the time. What already passed or already done is done.
Right.
You cannot dwelling on the past.
Have they talked to you yet about your debut? Do you know when you'll have your first fight for Bellator?
So I don't have anything yet, but probably soon we're going to have something. So I have a lot of fighters that I would like to face. So Musashi, I already fought Musashi in UFC. And so Ryan Bader, Phil Davis, Quinton Rampage, Jackson, a lot of fighters. So we can, even Tito Ortiz, they said Tito Ortiz already retired, but we never know. Who knows? We can do a very epic fight.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, you have a ton of new fights, old and rematches too.
Yes, for sure. Because in Bellator, I would like to fight to 185, 205, and who knows, in super fight as well. Nobody knows. I'm here for challenge. I'm very happy with my new journey and new challenge that I'll be facing.
Which division do you think will be first for you? Do you think it will be 185?
I believe so. I believe 185. I mean, true middleweight.
Okay.
So I don't put a lot of weight back when I had to lose some weight for the weighting. So, but I believe that I can fight 205 too because I'm a fast fighter as a 205. I believe that I was former champion UFC in 205 category, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that.
Do you have an ideal scenario for your debut? Is there a particular opponent that you would love to fight first in your first fight for Bellator?
So everything's just new to me, man.
Yeah.
So I gotta think. We gotta sit down. We gotta sit down and see everything. With Mike Hogan and Scott Cook and see what is the best option. But I'm here for anyone, of course. I'm here to have a good challenge and good opponent. So I want to make I want to make my history here in Bellator as well. Of course, I'm gonna run for the belt, and I'm here better than ever.
How many more years, Lyoto, do you think you want to do this for?
So I still have, the will to train. I still have, so every day when I wake up in the morning, so I'm very grateful. And also when I go to the academy, I'm very happy to do what I do. So that's the most important thing. I believe that the aging thing is happening in your mind. So if your mind get aging, so you're getting older, right? If your mind getting old, you can get old. So I'm very still young in my mind, and my body is still young. So I can do 5 rounds. I run. So I lift some weight. So I can feel that I still can do it.
How many fights did you sign for?
6 fights.
Okay, so you've got you want to fight all those fights, right?
Of course.
Okay.
At least 2 more years.
Wow. I like it. Does it feel weird? Like when I see you in the Bellator t-shirt, I saw you out with your manager, George, and your lovely family and on Instagram. Does it feel weird to wear the Bellator t-shirt to say you're a Bellator fighter after all these years in the UFC?
Not at all, man. When things have to change, you just have to change everything. So I just changed my mind, and say, no, now I'm Bellator fighter and I will give my best and whatever I have to do to help this guy out, to help the promoted fight, to help the Bellator MMA event, I'll do my best because I'm here to contribute everything, to contribute for improvements. That's what I want.
Amazing. Well, I think, and what has the reception been like? Are people happy for you, excited? What have you seen, if anything?
People are happy, especially in Brazil, especially here in the United States, and everywhere.
And did you have a final conversation with Dana White?
Yes, we did a conversation, but at the end of the day, everything was perfect. So Dana White, he completely understood what I wanted, and he said, "No, Lyoto, you're right. So you have to do what you think is better for you." So he he said, "No problem, you can go. So I would like you here, but unfortunately, we cannot have that before, but it's okay. It's a part of the deal, and I believe so. We can keep getting along with each other because it's just a business."
And now, Lyoto, now that the career in the UFC is over and you're about to start a new one, what would you say was your favorite UFC memory? Is there one that sticks out? Of course, you became champion. What a moment it was. You defended the belt. Is there one moment that sticks out above the rest? Maybe not when you became champion. Maybe it was a moment that we don't really think about or talk about.
No. I had a good memories from UFC. But when I was a champion against Rashad Evans, it was one of the best moments of my career. Because that moment, the dream came true. And for me, it was an astounding moment of my career. But now everything's different. Now I have to do everything in Bellator. Now I want the Bellator's belt, and that's what I want, man. That's what I want, and I wanna build my history in Bellator as well.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Congratulations. As they say in your country, Lyoto, parabéns.
Oh, your Portuguese is good. I hope one day we can talk in Portuguese.
Yes, obrigado. I only know 3 Portuguese words: parabéns, obrigado, and açaí, and maybe the 3 most important.
Good, thanks. Good, it's enough.
Thank you so much, Lyoto. Congratulations on, and I really appreciate you coming on the show today. All the best to you.
Thank you. For you too, man. Bye.
All right, there he is, the Dragon himself, the newest member of the Bellator roster, going to make his debut at middleweight, as he just said, later on this year. Very exciting stuff from Lyoto Machida. I really appreciate him stopping by. Okay, other big news last week, PFL, their second show of this season. Of course, they had some shows a few months back, but this season they're now 2 for 2. A very entertaining show, interesting show. There were some highs, there were some lows, there were some unexpected things. But to me, the story of that event was the debut, both in PFL and MMA, of one Kayla Harrison. Of course, you've heard us talk about her for quite some time now, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist in 2012 and 2016, the first American judoka to win an Olympic gold medal. She finally made her long-awaited MMA debut last Thursday. She defeated Brittany Elkin in the first round via, what else? Armbar. And what an honor it is to have the one and only Kayla Harrison join us from the road, on a road trip right now.
On a road trip.
How are you, Kayla?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? Congratulations to you as well on your debut today.
Yes, it's a debut for both of us. I'm sure we both had the same kind of nerves.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you.
Were you freaking out today?
A little bit.
Can
but
I interview you about how your debu's going?
No, I'd rather interview you. You're way more important. Were you freaking out before your debut?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, that makes 2 of us. Is that normal for you, or is that different?
No, it was really, I think I was just like, I don't know. It had been so long since I had been in a competitive environment. And I feel like the wait was really, really long and drawn out. And then sort of as the weeks got closer and closer, time just started to go so fast. And then boom, I was like, you're at the weigh-ins, and then you're at the ceremonial weigh-ins. And then I'm like, I'm asking Mike, like, what do you do at ceremonial weigh-ins? Like, how do I, what's going on? And then boom, we're in the warm-up area, and like, it's time to start warming up, and boom, they're like, okay, give out your hugs. It's time to fight. And boom, like the cage is locked. He says, let's go. And then boom, I won. It went so fast, but I was overwhelmed.
Did you enjoy the process?
Oh my God, I loved it.
More than you expected?
Yeah. Way more. By the end of my judo career, I was really burnt out, and I was really at this point where it just felt like everything was going through the motions, and I didn't really, my heart wasn't as invested in it as it was before, but for this, it was like, it's all new, it's all exciting, it's all fresh, like, I felt like a kid again, kind of, you know?
That was actually my next question. Did it feel like when you started out your journey as a judoka, like when you were a little kid, and was it a welcome sign to have those feelings again?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like the nerves and the excitement and that rush of adrenaline. I mean, I said it, in my post-fight interview. I was like, this is probably the most alive I've felt in a long time. So,
wow.
I loved it.
Even more so than competing for a gold medal, like the gold medal match the moment before?
I mean, there's no high quite like being the best in the world at what you do, but I understand that this is part of, the journey to being the best in the world has just begun. So, in a sense, it's exciting because this is a new chapter, but facing that same.
I'm assuming there's a second fight coming at some point, correct?
Yeah.
Was there a chance you just didn't like this whole experience? You didn't like everything that went into it, and you were like, yeah, I'll do this once and then I'm done? Was that a possibility?
I mean, yeah, it was definitely, I talked to Big Jim and my coaches kind of about, let's just take it one fight at a time. And in my mind, I was like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. You will figure out what to do afterwards. But we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, you loved it.
Yeah, I loved it.
And what was it like with PFL? They're not new necessarily, but it's a new regime. It's a new era. There's some familiar faces. This is, of course, your first rodeo as far as fighting for a promotion, but just dealing with them, how did you like it?
I think they're doing an awesome job. I truly believe in what they're trying to accomplish with MMA. And, I come from a tournament-style sport, so it's really that kind of feel and vibe to an event is already makes me feel more at home. But even more so, everyone who works for the PFL is very professional. Everyone takes really good care of me. They care about the fighters. They believe in the product. They want to see it be successful. They want to see the fighters happy and successful. So I'm beyond thrilled to be on board with this organization. I think I really want nothing but the best for the PFL.
And you have a multi-fight contract. Like your next fight will be with PFL?
Yeah.
Okay. Multiple fights?
Yep.
Okay.
4.
You fought at 155 for this fight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any weight cutting involved?
Everyone around me will say no, but there was weight cutting in my in my mind. I felt like I had to cut weight, but I ate. I was just eating a lot cleaner, and then I ate all my meals like normal, totally, all the way up until Wednesday, and then I ate like normal on Wednesday, drank whatever I wanted on Wednesday. No, sorry, Tuesday, and then Wednesday morning I woke up 2 pounds over, so I sat in the back for 20 minutes.
Okay. So why would your team say there was no weight cutting, and why did you feel like?
Because they're all making fun of me. Like my boyfriend's making fun of me because I got in the bath and I was like, okay, how long do I have to stay in here? And he was like, you just got in, like, shut up.
Well, you didn't have to do this for judo?
No, I never cut weight. I was always under like 5 pounds or so. I ate 6,000 calories a day. Ariel.
Wow.
I ate whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I lived the dream.
So now what about the idea of going to 145? Is this a nightmare for you?
I'm really nervous about it, but everyone, they're like, Kayla, you could make 145 today if you needed to when I fought last week. Everyone's like, you're fine. Because I sweat a lot. I'm really hydrated. I'm eating clean. Everything's good. I lose like 5 pounds per workout usually. So I probably could have made 145, but I just, taking my time, easing my way into these things.
speaking of that, will your next fight then be at 150? Like, are you going to do this gradually, or are you going to go straight to 145?
I don't know. I have to talk to Ali and the PFL and see what they want to do. One thing that's really tough about finding opponents at the higher weight classes is not the easiest thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know if fighting someone at 150 will be easier than fighting someone at 155. But I think, whatever they want to do, I'm comfortable with either.
And then the other thing is, you're not just any 1-0 opponent now. You're a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. So I feel like it's going to be very hard to find opponents for you.
I don't know why though. I mean,
What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know why?
I'm an embryo in MMA. Like, I'm a baby. Did you watch the fight? I have a lot to work on. So.
But you still have that base, that foundation. You're still an elite level athlete, and that's not common at 1-0.
Well, is that not? I mean, is it not a professional sport? Are we all not supposed to be elite?
Olympic elite is different than like 1-0 elite.
Okay, if you say so.
Yes. Well, that's just, I'm trying to pay you a compliment here, and you're not accepting it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like you weren't all that enamored with your performance. You say there's a lot you have to work on. What in particular?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, Ariel, I don't think I threw a punch. I zombie walked straight at her. I was so nervous. I'm telling you, I was not expecting those kind of nerves. And it's not like in sparring, I don't throw punches and I don't strike. Like when I spar, I go at it. I'm not afraid to get hit. But I walked into that cage and they locked it, and it was like I forgot everything that I had just been practicing for a year. And I was like, oh, let me grab you. I zombie walked. It was bad. I was pretty embarrassed. I started apologizing to Mike and Daya right away. I was like, I'm sorry. And they were like, why are you sorry? You did great. And I'm like, no, that was a little embarrassing.
Have you actually watched the full fight?
So I can't find the full fight anywhere. I can only find where it starts 10 seconds in. So I've already grabbed her. So I'm not technically sure if I threw a punch or didn't throw a punch. Some people are saying I did. Some people are saying I didn't. But I haven't seen the full thing. I've seen from 450 on. Okay.
I feel like our friends at PFL could hook you up. No, I mean, get you a link.
No, I haven't asked for it. But Mike is so funny. He called me the next day and he was like, have you watched it yet? And I was like, I can only find the 450 and on version. He was like, yeah, me too. So why are you complaining about? So everything else you did really good, but for 10 seconds you didn't do something. So that's what you're upset about. And I'm like, well, I'm not upset. I'm just, I'm chasing perfection. So.
And of course, for those that may not know, you're referring to the great Mike Brown, correct?
Correct.
And what was it like now going through a full? I think personally, and I'm not just saying it because you're one of his pupils. I truly, humbly believe that he is top 5 best coaches, maybe even top 3 at this point. He is. I mean, everyone is glowing about him and what he's done since retiring. What was it like actually going through the process with him, having him in? I know you had a full team, you had some familiar faces, but as him kind of leading the way, what was that like for you?
To be honest with you, I can't imagine training with anyone else. I've been to other camps and I've worked with other people, and I've met some amazing people along this MMA journey so far, but by far he's a next level. I always say I got so lucky when I wound up on the Pedro's tour. I could never imagine getting so lucky and meeting such great coaches. But I mean, I don't know, I must just have a horseshoe because Mike is amazing. I think he's a genius. I think he gets it. He is obsessed with MMA, more than is normal for a human. And he's an awesome guy. It's not work, when you're around him. He makes it so you feel like you're getting better, you're making progress, and you're also, I enjoy what I do now. Every single day, I'm excited to go to practice, or I'm excited to go see my team. I'm excited to find out what's in the books for me. So I can't wait to get back to training.
When is the next one? Do you know?
October.
Oh, October what?
I don't know yet.
But that is it.
A PFL show in October.
Okay. And do we have an opponent already?
No, I don't think so. Maybe they do.
Okay. But in your mind, you're fighting in October?
Yes.
And where are you right now, by the way? Obviously, you're in your car, but where exactly are you?
I'm in Chicago. I'm driving to Ohio
Okay.
to see my family, and then I'm gonna drive from Ohio back down to Florida.
Are you actually driving at the moment?
No. Tony is.
Oh, hey, Tony.
Hello.
Thanks for joining. Okay, I got worried there because that's very unsafe.
I would never.
And we have a dog in the back?
Yep, that's Gates.
What is that? What's around the dog?
A dog bed.
Oh.
A harness.
Oh, it's a harness. Why a harness?
Yeah. I don't know. It's better for his leash.
Okay. I'm not a big dog person, so I just never seen something like that.
You're not a dog person?
No, not that I don't like dogs. No, please don't be offended. I'm not well versed. I'm sorry. No, I meant like I'm not well versed on dog culture. I'm not. I didn't mean. I don't kick dogs when they come to my lawn. I'm not that guy.
A little bit right now.
Sorry.
I don't know.
I heard. By the way, I heard your voice completely change. What do you mean you're not a dog person? It's like I just spat in your face right there.
There are two types of people in the world.
Okay.
Yeah,
dog people and non-dog people.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that your personal dog?
Yeah. It's Tony's dog.
Oh, okay. And how old is the dog?
6 years old.
6.
All right. That's your buddy.
He's my new best friend.
What kind of a ride we got going on right here? How long?
We have another 5 hours.
Oh, okay. So this is good. This kind of broke things up, this interview.
Oh, yeah. I'm so thrilled.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't wait to talk to you.
Now, here's the big question. Did you hear from Ronda Rousey before or after?
Nope.
Unbelievable.
What? Why are you trying to start drama?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, so I reached out to her actually.
Oh.
Not long ago about my book, because I'm trying to push to get my book out there. More just, for people to read it, then all the proceeds go to my foundation. So it's not about making money or anything. But I asked her if she could make a post about it. And then she said she would, but she was in New Zealand, and then she had to go from New Zealand to Europe for WWE, and then she was going to be on the road for a month, but send her the book, and when she got home, she would read it, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay.
Blah. So I don't know if she's home or not yet, but my point is she's a very busy girl. She has a lot on her plate, so it's all good.
Well, at least she responded.
Yeah, well, why wouldn't she?
I don't know. Maybe she's so busy she can't even respond,
Yeah. That's if you get to that point, though.
That'd be bad.
Yeah, you're doing something wrong.
And then you did the armbar. Was that a nod? Or was that just what was available?
Okay. This whole thing about, is Ronda the only one who's allowed to do arm bars?
No, I didn't think that was.
Every single article the next day was Harrison follows in Rousey's footsteps with arm bar. And
so
I'm do
annoying.
You understand that, I've been doing arm bars for, I don't know, 15 years now? And it's, it's a very popular armbar in judo. That's what I think maybe people don't understand. It's it happens all the time in judo matches. So it was honestly just instinct taking over. Yeah.
It must have felt good though, right? Yeah. When you locked it in and she tapped, how good did that feel?
Yeah, it felt good.
That was pretty understated. I thought you'd say
I won the Olympics with that arm bar, and that felt really good.
That exact same one?
A variation of it, yeah.
Wow. What's the judo term for it?
I was fighting the Jujigatami.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was fighting the French girl, and there were 8 seconds left, and she fell to the ground, and I pretended to go for a choke, and instead of going for a choke, like a collar choke, I latched onto the arm and armbarred her.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah. There's real poetry there. Look at that symmetry, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful. And getting punched in the face, no big deal.
No, it's not so bad.
Okay. All right. So here we go. 1-0. We're on our way.
1-0. We're on the way. The journey has begun.
What did our passenger say over there? I heard him say something.
He's talking smack.
What?
No.
About me?
No.
What's up?
Oh,
here we go.
I said
I'm going to be really embarrassed now.
Oh.
I don't know if I feel comfortable
Tell
with
me.
It's not Ronda's armbar.
You're breaking up.
Okay.
The connection's breaking up.
It's Kayla's armbar.
No, I've been telling people this from the beginning. Listen, imagine Ronda being on steroids. Ronda being just this complete machine.
This is Kayla Harrison,
Yes.
two-time Olympic gold medalist.
Yes.
Her armbar, her show.
Yes. You need to be like her manager, like pro wrestling. You need to speak up for her. She's too humble. Yes. Yes. That's the she's been doing that armbar in preparation for your debut. She stole it from you.
That's right.
She laid the foundation. You built that house. You understand?
She perfected that.
No,
Yes.
I perfected that house.
You perfected that damn house, and it's never looked better. Don't leave her hanging. There you go.
Yeah, he did. Anyways.
Well, this is exciting. I think that you are the face of PFL. I think that they need to push you to the moon. They have a superstar on their hands, and quite frankly, I don't know what you're getting paid. They need to rework your contract right now and pay you even more because you are the one that's getting them all the headlines. Honestly, with all due respect, this is a big deal. Two-time Olympic gold medalist.
Thank you. Yeah, you can be my hype man too.
We'll work together, all of us.
You guys are really I feel pretty good about myself right now. Thanks, guys.
That's the point. That's what happens when you come on my show.
No, seriously, they take really good care of me, and I don't know. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm gonna go to this show in DC next week and continue my commentating, and I'm excited. I have so much to learn. I feel like I have so much to grow on, and every day I just get a little bit better and better and better, and then before you know it, everybody's gonna know my name.
I'm very happy for you, Kayla. Congratulations. You did great.
I'm happy for you, Ariel.
Oh,
congratulations to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And next time, please come to my new home. Would love to have you. It was great having you in studio.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the next one in October. Thanks so much to both of you for squeezing us in during this road trip.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Gates says thanks too.
All right. To the three of you, I should say. All the best. There she is.
Right.
Kayla Harrison,
Bye.
the two-time Olympic gold medalist. How great was that? What a performance last Thursday. Winning in her PFL debut, her MMA debut. What a star. What a star they have on their hands. I really do believe that she is the face of that organization, and that's no knock on anyone else, but she is just coming with this incredible resume behind her. Unbelievable. Two-time Olympic gold medalist, defeats Brittany Elkin in and she's that big of a star, right? Because the PFL format, and let me just say something about the PFL format, which she's not a part of necessarily. She's doing these one-offs. I am hesitant because of what history has taught us. I'm hesitant because of the IFL. I'm hesitant because of the old Bellator model. I really like so far what they've been doing. There's something to the events, and there's been some little wacky things here or there, but I'm getting it. To me, the format was a little bit hard to grasp. It was a little convoluted, and if it's a little hard for me, who does this for a living, I can't imagine what it's like for the audience. But I think the production value has gone up. I think the broadcasts have gone up. I think it's a cleaner look. I'm not a fan of uniforms, but hey, they're letting them have two sponsors. Okay, cool. I can live with that. As someone who's trying to nitpick here. But I feel like the matchups have been good. They've done a good job with the matchups. They've had some nice finishes. They've got people like Kayla Harrison. Make no mistake about it. Just because I may criticize doesn't mean that as a sport, it's not better to have the PFLs around. We need the PFLs around. I think it's very important to have as many viable options as possible in this sport for fighters. I think that's incredibly important, not just two, to have 3, 4, 5. So I think everyone who is a fan of MMA should be, quote unquote, rooting for the PFLs of the world to succeed. And signing someone like Kayla and having someone with her resume and her credentials is just gigantic for them. So I'm looking forward to her next fight. She just announced October. We'll see who they match her up against. It's not going to be easy, but that is a very good start to her career. Okay, let's move along. Other big news last week. Josh Barnett is no longer in the UFC. He said goodbye, and he made it official yesterday, to be exact. And I do believe he told his longtime agent and friend, Leland Labar, the great Leland Labar, he said, I'm making this official so that I can come on Ariel Helwani's first program right here on ESPN to talk to the world, to talk to my people. And now here he is, the War Master himself, Josh L. Barnett. How are you, Josh?
Here for you, Ariel. This was completely engineered so that I could be on your first show, of course. As my official manager,
Yes.
absolutely, I have to be here to support you.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And the one thing about you, Josh, that no one can ever take away from you is that you are a loyal man. You don't forget the people who helped you along the way. So I brokered a lot of deals for you back in the day. Even though now you're making the big bucks, doing all kinds of crazy things, you still haven't forgotten. I appreciate that.
Oh, this is true, 100%. Another thing you can't take away from me is food. That's always a hard thing, or a glass of whiskey. That's hard to get out of my hands as well.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that I can't see your shining face right now.
I know. We will work on that, Josh. As they say,
you have
Rome...
a handsome logo.
Yes, thank you. There it is.
Great meaning. Great kerning.
We will work on that. Don't worry. It's a new era, Josh. It's a new era for both of us. Here we are, and you are now a free man. How long was this? How long was this in the works for?
Not a particularly extensive length of time. We initially started some conversations with the UFC, I think maybe around a month ago, maybe a little more than that, but it wasn't an overly excessive process, and like most everything that I've done with the UFC since rejoining them after Strikeforce has really been fairly easy to deal with, and I guess just add that to the list of non-difficult things of being a UFC fighter so far. Although someone did try to jump on a report that I was cut and all this kind of stuff and released from the UFC, and all I can say is, one, they were getting close to somewhat of the truth, but not entirely correct. Not to mention, if you're the UFC, you clearly have some loose lips in there that are going to sink your ships if you don't get a hold of your personnel and tell them to shut the hell up.
So let me ask you, Josh, did you approach them? Did you say I want out, or did they approach you?
Yes, I just like the seminal Halloween song, I told them that I wanted out.
Why?
The main thing is that I'm not going to be doing this for that much longer. I know that really disappoints so many people out there, or perhaps actually it makes some folks happy. But nonetheless, I'm at the twilight of this whole fighting for a living thing. So I want to be able to do what it is that drives and inspires me most, and I want to control the narrative of that story. I think there's a lot to still say, but if I'm in the UFC machine, I'm telling the UFC story. And I need to fit in to some degree where I work best for them, instead of me trying to structure what works best for me. And, to be perfectly honest, I don't begrudge them that at all. It is their company, and that's, for the most part, what they should be trying to do. And there is a possibility that I could have been maybe the thing that they felt it was worth pushing forward and trying to build the story around. But instead of waiting, wanting, wishing, hoping that maybe something like that would happen, or of the real handful or less of fights that I'm truly interested in trying to have in the UFC coming to fruition, I would just as soon bid them good day and a good hearty handshake, and then go about my own way and take my own chances out there in the big world, and in another sense try to rekindle a bit of what I've been missing, I feel like, for quite some time. And that's a bit of that the old feeling of adventure, the thrill of finding an event. I still want to do a one-night tournament again. I still want to fight wearing my wrestling shoes and soccer ball kicks and stomps and fighting in rings and fighting in, I don't know, Yama pits and whatever's available, and meeting some guy that, who knows, I've never heard of him, but apparently he's some legendary champion in some other martial arts, some halfway across the world, and fighting him and just living that real life Street Fighter 2 story, that the kind of thing that'll look great optioned as a Hollywood movie.
I love it. But here's the thing.
Plus, there's pro wrestling and grappling and all of that, and I don't have to ask for permission to do anything. I just go and I do it, and I set it up.
Are you surprised, though, that they obliged, that you asked and they said, yeah, sure? Or did that not go that way? Did they try to convince you to stay?
A I mean, they did send me some flowers and a box of chocolates.
I had a feeling.
Yeah, no, and like an Xbox Live subscription, and they were really very, very kind about it. Edible arrangements. Uh, it's a different UFC in a lot of ways, and it's not the same. It's not always, it's not run by the same exact folks. So maybe the old UFC would have been different. There was a time in the UFC's past where under contract disputes, they would just sit a fighter for years and just hold them with one or more fights left on their contract and just refuse to let them fight at all, and just bench a guy. Where taking a year or two out of their life as a fighter is like tantamount to like 10 years of regular life. But this is a different UFC. They let some other athletes go that had a more tenuous situation with them at the moment. But for me and the UFC had a perfectly fine working relationship, and I think that maybe this UFC isn't so worried about the loss of a major name or two or what have you, or maybe they didn't feel that I had the value. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, it wasn't contentious from my part, and it didn't seem contentious in the least from them either. So everything was able to be worked out rationally and sensibly. And ideally, I don't know why you would want somebody to work for you if that's not where they wanted to be.
Right. If you didn't have the issue with USADA, do you think you would have been more open to sticking around?
Yeah, although the bigger drive is what I outlined before. It's the controlling my own story and trying to put together the feeling of high adventure of those early days, and being a rogue and a reaver and a marauder and a mercenary again, and living that kind of life, and seeing what happens and where it goes, and what stories I'll be able to tell based on the scars I'm going to acquire. There's a lot of places left to fight that I won't ever get the chance to fight in if I don't do this now, and countries as well. But if I was to stay in the UFC, there is a massive red flag for me with dealing with USADA, because that process was so unnecessary in terms of how it all unfolded. And I'm not against clean sport or testing or any of the sort of things that on paper a group like USADA is there to uphold and to institute. But when it came to it, there's no, it's like there's no ability for nuance or context. For them, it feels as if the proof of their success of the program is by how many and how hard they can hammer people. And that to me seems like a very dangerous environment to deal with, and I dealt with it specifically, especially when we knew a few months in exactly what supplements were the problem, and what the levels of contamination in my system were, and also in the supplements, and how that lined up with a source of contamination and an absolutely zero benefit in terms of doping for performance. And yet it was like they just changed gears and hit a swerve and became a whole different group to deal with at that point, because now they were going to try and figure out, well, what other avenue can we levy punishment against him and be just in doing so in our eyes. It's like, the FBI couldn't get Al Capone, but the IRS did. And in this case, they tried to find other things from my past, other interpretations of a contract that I didn't really have an option on whether I did or I didn't want to sign it, which is also a contract which is it is amorphous in that it can be altered and changed at any moment, and what you signed still holds true. So you're bound to any adjustment to that contract in any way, which is something I have never signed in my entire life and would never sign again. And I'm glad to be free of that. Plus, after going and winning my case against them in arbitration, taking it to its furthest point, as of mandated by the actions of USADA, and all the time and money spent doing so, and time lost from being able to compete, I can't, with the way that their attitudes changed throughout the process and how punitive they seemed, and more interested in doling out punishment than being just and fair. I can't fully trust that there isn't someone there potentially that is harboring a grudge now, that it may try to find a way to be vindictive in some case. So it's not something that I want to give them power over me again, especially when I feel like they have proven themselves to not be someone that can be trusted to wield that kind of power, in my opinion.
So this issue first comes up in December of 2016. It gets resolved in 2018. So it was like a 1.5-year process. Why? And this could be a question for them as well. But why? The part that I can't quite figure out is, why did the arbitration process take so long?
Well, I didn't initially go to arbitration because I wanted to keep it out of the realm of legal combat, so to speak. That's a lot of money to hire counsel to prepare your case and documents. And then an arbitrator has to be, it costs me money to go to arbitration, not just for my own counsel, but just to even go to enact the process of arbitration. Someone has to pay their arbitrator. Well, that's me. So, or them or whoever. Money has to be I had to put a down payment down to take it to arbitration. So money comes out of my pocket just to do it, let alone money out of my pocket for legal counsel and anything else. I spent my own money to test my own supplements, and we had that sorted out. And in fact, a guy working at the lab for them, after seeing the results and seeing the levels and everything, goes, "Well, this is such a minute amount. This is so minuscule. It's obvious what it is." And we felt pretty confident. Well, I should say Leland felt a lot more confident than me, but then again, I guess I'm not a glass is half full, a glass is half empty. I'm more like, well, there's a glass and there's not all the liquid I want in it right now. Where to go? Who's trying to take it from me? Is it even something I want to drink anymore? I don't know. So, if it's a glass half full of whiskey, I'm definitely bummed out, unless it's halfway in me. Okay. If it's baby's blood, I don't know. It worked for Elizabeth Bathory. So I probably am getting to that age. I'm going to start to see wrinkles. So I have to consider that as well. I don't even know if baby's blood is on the USADA list. So it might be completely legal to do.
I have no idea what you're talking about now.
But the thing is that we tried to work with them as much as possible through normal, conventional means, let's say. And as soon as we had all the results in and all that, all right, well, they have their answers, so let's structure something from here on out and try to move forward. And even if they're into it, which they seem like they were, put together something to try and create more education for the fighters to prevent these kind of things from popping up anymore. Because it's not just about whether or not they weren't doping or anything like that. There's also the element of, is someone ingesting something that is potentially harmful to their system? They don't know about it. And it's not feasible to accept every fighter to test every single batch of supplements that they take. And, anything can happen. So at that point, then they just got, all of a sudden, communication became much slower and much less. And then they started bringing in heavier punishments and bringing up things from 2008. And I was like, okay, well, I see where this is going to go. And they just seemed dead set on trying to punish me in some way. And my whole initial statement to them was, I'm not going to accept the punishment for something that I didn't do. So if you're going to try and punish me and just say, oh, well, we even in the idea, I mean, there was all those Brazilian athletes that got in trouble
Right.
For a similar thing and they'd all traced it down to a compound pharmacy or something in Brazil. And so what they said was, oh, well, you know, they each got 6 month suspensions, but they were out 8 months. So therefore, oh, they're not suspended at all anymore. It's like, no. That's word salad. And that's a play on words to try and make it seem like they weren't punished, but you did say you punished them.
Yeah.
You still suspended them no matter what, even though it's a suspension that never kept them out. The whole process of sorts is a suspension, really, because until it gets sorted out, you know, I couldn't corner Travis Brown, who I was training for his UFC fight, which, you know, I can't say without, you know, 100% positively, but I really do think that if I was in the corner with him that night, he might have had a different outcome against the Ukrainian boa constrictor.
Alexei Olenek.
Yes, that dude is he's awesome. He's actually Olenek is it's incredible that he keeps getting people with the same move all the time, but also that he's like 41 years old. He's looking great, still fighting. Yeah, I'm a fan of his. But you know, we got in a lot of great work, me and Travis, and yet I've send in my paperwork and try to apply to be a cornerman, only to be denied, and you know, to be told I'm suspended. So, you know, you got commissions that are gonna not allow you to work. You have the company you work for kind of put in a limbo situation. USADA themselves. So you're pretty much you're handcuffed until you get through it. And so it's, to me, it's still unacceptable to give those Brazilian athletes 6 month suspensions, so to speak, because in the end you're saying they're punished. They're going to get written down in the history books as people that took punishments. And for me, I was like, I'm not doing that. And you know, even it's a real complex thing, and there's more to it even than is probably worth going into here. But it became a very convoluted process. It became very clear that they wanted to use me as an example of the greatness of their system by how hard they could punish me, and I wasn't going to have it. And so eventually it had to go to arbitration, and you know, thankfully we presented our case, and the arbitrator was able to see what was what. Have you or will you sue the supplement company? Yeah, we have a lawsuit against the supplement company as we speak. Okay. Could you tell us what the damages are? Could you tell us what you're suing them for? Well, obviously, you know, lost time, and my inability to work. Yeah. A whole roasted chicken. Okay. Yeah, no, for sure. A 6-pack of Pabst Blue Ribbon, because it did win an award. So it's got that much going for it. Some pencils, they don't even have to be pre-sharpened. Okay, those are the best. Yeah, I mean, I know that's a frustration when you need a pencil and you go and you go, oh, I got a whole box full, and you pull one out and it's like, God damn it. Yes. There's no point to it. Right. But thankfully, from Cold Steel Knives, I always have a sharp blade handy. Oh. I can whittle one away. Not a big deal. The whole roasted chicken is a deal breaker, though. It has to be included. Could I ask, Josh, do you have any suitors yet? Now that you're officially a free man, anyone come to you? You can. There's no negotiation period. There's no exclusivity. You could sign with someone today, right? If you want. Mm-hmm. That's true. Any deals on the table? I've had some chatter come my way. Okay. But you know, I mean, you know what you're talking about, ladies. But I think it's a bit too soon to set all the wheels in motion at this moment. It's important to keep a look at the field of what's available and what's coming in, because as it is, as you know, I have to structure how this is all going to go, and me and Leland and everybody around me, we have to figure out timeline wise. We also have to figure out what makes the most sense in terms of what fights and what places, and there's a lot of of management that goes into creating these kind of opportunities. But also, I don't want to end up in a position where I'm stuck in a way that I can't go out there and fulfill my intention of finding that story that I'm looking for and getting that fight that really interests and excites me. So, at the moment, I have a catch wrestling competition, a tournament in New Jersey on July 14th.
Okay.
But beyond that, I'm just working with my athletes ever and constantly trying to get a fight for Victor Henry because people refuse to fight him left and right. And working with the fighters that I have, from the amateurs to the pros, and helping them out, and doing the New Japan Pro Wrestling stuff is keeping me real busy as well. So I'll have to find a way to structure all of that part of life and then re-gear towards getting back in the ring. And during that time, we'll sit back, we'll see what's what, and see what that landscape looks like. Because I'm sure everybody would like to get me for as cheap as possible, but I hate to break it to you, I's a high-class bitch.
But you are fighting again. You will fight again.
Yes.
Multiple times.
And that was always the intent. Intent was to always fight again.
Okay. And it's not just a one-off. You're fighting. You plan on a few more.
Yeah. I don't know how many more I'll be able to get out of this whole body of mine, but I'll make the most of it.
What is the dream? Could you tell us what's the dream scenario? What's the fight out there? What's the platform? What's the stage? What's the place, the arena, the opponent? What is it? Come on. I know you've thought of this.
For one, the Kumite. I want to take all of Frank Dukes' records and write them in my own. There's also, I heard that the All Valley Karate Tournament is coming around next year.
Come on. You got one. Can I tell you what mine is?
There's an island I've heard of out there off the coast of China where they invite all the elite martial artists
Legit?
To go and compete.
For real? Not for real. I thought that was for real. Okay,
no,
here's
that's
mine.
called Enter the Dragon.
Oh, yes, of course.
It's also essentially called The Quest, but that's a slightly different movie. I don't know yet. There's an entire landscape of Russia right now. I was over at MFP earlier this year as a guest, and I did a few seminars, and what an amazing looking show that was, being over there in Far East Russia. KSW has one of the biggest, most awesome looking shows out there. I mean, can you imagine? I would like to see if I could straight up suplex or powerbomb the world's strongest man.
Mariusz Pudzianowski.
Yeah, Pudzianowski.
Yes.
A big old anvil of a human being, if I could chuck him on his head. That's the kind of thing. Ryzen obviously has inherited the full soul of Pride. Bellator is taking their act all over the world. They've got some of the baddest heavyweights out there and some amazing matchups, especially one in Fyodor Emelianenko that has never happened. That could still be an incredible fight to see.
Yes.
And I think the fans would be into that. And then there's just that which I don't even know of yet. There's all these championships and fighters and things that are just existing and coming and going. The next biggest, coolest thing might just be around the corner. I think that Ganrujima is pretty awesome looking too out there in Japan. And well, that's not as big an event as something like KSW, MFP, or Ryzen, or Bellator, but it's interesting with the sumo element, fighting with the jacket. And that's the thing, is that there are these. I want to be a full-bred martial artist again who adapts to new territory and new challenges. And I'd like to go somewhere. I'd like to do a one-night tournament again. An 8-man or, God forbid, a 16-man. Well, that would be brutal, but nonetheless, go out there and just like I used to do in the old days. It doesn't necessarily have to be bare knuckle and headbutts and all that, but just the stuff that goddamn comic books and movies are made of. Then you know what? MMA used to be a lot like that. So if there's any chance that I could ever have an anime or a manga written about me, it's not going to happen unless I do this cool ass shit. That's just simple as that. Plus, I mean, hey, Vikings, what do? They travel the world and they bash and smash and take all the riches back.
I'm so excited because you're excited. Like, I could feel it in your voice how excited you are about all these possibilities being at your doorstep and you being able to.
That's just because I'm happy to see you.
Well, but you can't see me, but you hear me, and it's been a while since we talked.
I feel you.
Yes, I feel you. I
Yes.
feel you as well. This is great. I'm so happy for you, and this is the way it should be. Josh Barnett, with all due respect, shouldn't be in a Reebok uniform. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's just not.
I agree.
It's not. It's just some things work, some things don't. That doesn't work. So this is right. This feels right to me, and I can't wait to see what you do. Before I let you go, I just have to ask you because it has been a while since we actually talked. Leland was keeping you tucked away. He was very protective of you, and I understand why. But now that you're a free man, I feel like when I see Shayna Baszler, every time I see Shayna Baszler wrestle, I think, what is Josh Barnett thinking right now? You must be like a proud father somewhere watching your pupil turn into the star that she is turning into. And I feel like she has found her calling. Like, she is going to be a mammoth superstar over there in WWE. What is it like for you to see her? And of course, Ronda's doing her thing, and I know others are coming along, but to see Shayna in particular do what she's doing, what is that like for you?
Well, I mean, Shayna was the catalyst for professional wrestling being a part of that whole group. You know, she introduced everyone in that group to pro wrestling. Without Shayna, Ronda, none of these people would probably be in the or trying to be in the WWE or currently in the WWE. And that's great that people can bring what they're interested into and help influence each other, you know? I mean, I'm sure that there's been, I'm sure, great influence from Ronda back onto all the people that she's been a part of their lives as well, you know, and that's the way things should be. But with Shayna, she's the second from the ground up pro wrestler that I've trained. Like, I trained her for near a decade as an MMA fighter. And at one point I just basically, because she was getting into watching wrestling more, and I'd taken all the girls to PWG, and it's just like, all right, would you be interested in doing some pro wrestling? And she's like, yeah. I can see, you know, you seem really pretty jazzed about it. Well, is this something you'd really like to get into? And she said, yeah. And all right then. And so I just started training her, started making slight alterations to the training that we did for MMA and adding little bits in there and working on bumping and teaching selling and helping create some different professional wrestling move execution and just building her up from the ground up and trying a lot of times to fight against what I would call the like modern sort of fake wrestling narrative and have her be an example of bringing it back to that legitimacy. I mean, I understand it's still a worked match, but it doesn't need to look like choreography. And try and have more of that grit and that reality to it. And just teaching her little things like that, and then eventually, I knew that we would be able to get her to the highest levels at some point. I could always feel that she had that ability within her, and it was just a matter of time and experience. And doing the indies here around the States and in Vancouver, and then going and doing a tour over in Japan of Stardom, which was something that I insisted that I really wanted her to do before ever venturing over to the WWE. I felt like being in the Japanese pro wrestling company and having that experience is just an absolute necessity, not just because of knowing who she is as a person, but I also feel very strongly about that. And that's part of course, where my roots are from, and by that product, hers as well. And then once she got that opportunity to be in that tournament, I said, you're going to light things up, man. You're going to make an impression. I know it. And sure enough, they sent a contract and we went through it, got her signed up. And if anything, I know if I was watching her, the main thing is I'd probably be critiquing it because that's what I do. Because I just want to see her always be at her absolute best. You know, all students, to be honest. And probably be thinking how I could do a better job of coaching her still. But, you know, got to have some pride in your work. I think she's doing fantastic. Really happy for her work over there, and glad that she can provide that return to an older style of wrestling, an older approach, and an older respect of wrestling, of wrestling as a legitimate sport, which also, in my opinion, helps accentuate everybody else who then stands out from her in the way that they move and their move sets and their way of approaching wrestling, and that's important to have something that is a counter narrative, so that you can then highlight what is different.
Congratulations to her. Congratulations to you, Josh. Thank you so much for coming on the show. First episode wouldn't have been the same without you, and I love the way this all timed out. This is great stuff. So I'm looking forward to what's next. Please do keep us posted. But for now, enjoy being a free man and play the field a little bit and get all those offers and pick the best one. Great stuff, Josh. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and it is. It's exciting times, and I'm well and ready for it.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Looking forward to what's next for you. There he is, the War Master himself, Josh Barnett, a free man, no longer a part of the UFC, and now looking, the guy, he is a man of many talents. He's got a lot going on in his life. We all know that. He is a man who I would assume is going to have a lot of suitors. He's a man who I would assume is going to have a lot of people who are going to want him to compete not only in MMA, but pro wrestling, grappling, as he mentioned. He is a commentator for Access TV as far as their New Japan Pro Wrestling is concerned. There's a lot to like as far as Josh Barnett is concerned, and now he is going to go out there and do his thing elsewhere. And so maybe it's time that he could you imagine him versus Mariusz Pudzianowski in KSW? That would be insane. That would be absolutely insane.